Now, a First Alert weather breakdown. First Alert Weather Day Special Edition with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Welcome into your First Alert Weather Day. I am meteorologist Evan Thomason. Welcome into the stream here tonight. Yes, I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason here at 7 p.m. The point is we want to keep you first alert and weather aware here for tonight. Just so you know what's going on here at the station, Chief Meteorologist Matt Jones is holding on the fort in case if a tornado warning pops off again, which unfortunately could happen here in the ArkLaTex at any moment. Just so you know, if that happens, if a tornado warning happens at all in the ArkLaTex, this stream goes down. The live stream instead will be on Chief Meteorologist Matt Jones, who will be over at the wall. He's waiting over there just in case anything happens. So, if anything, this is actually good news that I'm on the stream because we have time to do this, essentially. So, we're in the podcast desk, essentially. First, weather breakdown. Again, I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason. Matt's holding down the fort in case there is a tornado warning, and he's looking at the latest weather models up to there. But we did want to give you an update onto what's going on still here in the ArkLaTex. For those of you curious about the storms out and about. Obviously, still plenty of storms, plenty of noise, plenty of hail, plenty of flash flooding. Still lots of impacts from these storms, even though we do not have a tornado warning here in the ArkLaTex. So we're keeping you first alert and weather aware here for the day today. Again, Chief Meteorologist Matt Jones is holding the fort in case if there is a tornado warning. He's currently in the studio in case anything does happen over there. And again, in the case of a tornado warning, for those of you continuing to join us, in case a tornado warning does happen, we will immediately cut off the stream. We will go over to Chief Meteorologist Matt Jones over in the studio, essentially. All right, so let's get you the latest on the updates. So many updates to go over. Obviously, a lot of tornadic coverage here across most of northeast Texas and southeastern Oklahoma and areas north of Texarkana a little while ago. Again, the tornadic threat has mostly dropped, which is good. I'm going to kind of tell you why here in just a little bit. That was a look at your radar. This is a look at our wind velocity, which is the best thing to do to kind of see the tornadic threat. And you can see that we always watch out for these areas where the green overlaps with the red, when it comes to this tornadic coverage. And we do see that, but we don't see anything rotating too extremely in and of itself. Maybe something around Atlanta, maybe Atlanta, Texas, but overall we're not looking at any hooks or rotating green with the red, at least for the time being. Most of this is just straight line winds here for the moment. So let's go back let's go back to the radar here before we get into the picture. This is our our whole system, which is heading through the ArkLaTex at this hour. Here, again, we still have plenty of severe thunderstorm warnings that continue to be issued. There's a new one downstream that's actually in effect for areas of Miller County and Caddo Parish here at this hour. So watch out for that in the region here right now. Let's get you the latest on just the radar picture here in of itself. Before I do a loop, again, the loop pretty much shows the storms continuing to head up into the north and east. We got heavy rainfall right on top of Nashville. This is extended all the way through Texarkana. Texarkana continues to deal with heavy rain, especially right about now. I've already seen some traffic alerts on I-30, some good slowdowns. Overall, it's not a good time to be on the roadways. That line goes all the way through Domino and through Atlanta. Although the point is the storm is about to reach Miller County in Arkansas here at this rate. Continuing down the line, this line goes all the way through Jefferson. It's about to reach Jefferson right now. Marshall kind of on the verge of in the tail end of this system hull entirely as well. If you look at the I-20 corridor, remember how I said most of the I-20 corridor, for those of you who were with me earlier today, I kind of mentioned how today, yesterday, and overall the past 2 days, including today, the I-20 corridor is kind of the very edge of where we're expecting our storms to be. Well, that's in case the point here on your First Alert Doppler radar here for the day today. If you're in Shreveport and Bossier, everything's still way off to the west. Again, all these storms are continuing to move up rapidly north. More north than east is the point. They're very slowly moving here over the past 30 minutes. Let's get you a good loop to see what you could be expecting here in the next couple of minutes. Again, no tornado warnings in effect. Actually, before I go into a quick loop, let me show you the alerts that we do have in the ArkLaTex, because there's still a lot. We still have severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Cass, Lafayette, Marion, and Miller counties. Also for the northern edges of Bossier and Caddo Parish as well. These storms contain lots of hail. We'll get to the hail here in just a second. I have a little hail tracker that you can track onto. Bowie, Hempstead, Little River, Miller counties all under a severe thunderstorm warning. That obviously includes Texarkana as well. And we got another one. That tornado warning, by the way, is outside the region. It's not going to auto-populate the severe thunderstorm warning. Either ways, that's outside of the ArkLaTex, northeast of Hope. Behind this line, we have flash flood warnings as well in effect. This is in effect for areas around Mount Pleasant as of right now. Camp, Franklin, Morrison, Titus counties. Keep in mind, this lasts all the way until 8:45. We still have lots of lingering rain behind the actual front line that continues to push on through. Overall, it's been raining in Mount Pleasant for the past 3 to 4 hours continuously. We'll get to some of those rainfall totals here in just a second. I also want to mention that to you. Flash flood warning also in effect for areas of New Boston, New Hope, Ashdown, Nashville, DeQueen. Again, even though we don't have tornado warnings in place, we still have lots of heavy rain and lots of hail that's continuing to bring in our two big threats. Again, hail and flash flooding. That's what we're continuing to watch and keep you first alert about, even though there is not a tornado warning in progress. And guess what? That's good news. That's good news that we don't have a tornado warning in progress right there. So overlaying the radar map for you there. Again, heavy rain currently moving through Texarkana at this rate, and that's extended all the way back to Mount Pleasant. Meanwhile, a little farther south, we got rain from Gilmer over to Jefferson. Rain just outside of Marshall here for the moment. Nothing is in northwest Louisiana currently. And we got rain just a little bit out to the west side of Hope here for the time being as well. All right, so let's show you a little bit of a loop here of what's been happening, and I'm going to zoom out to kind of show you, and hopefully, there we go, it all populates the towns. I know there's comments going on Facebook right now. I'm not looking at those in particular just yet because I just want to give you the first alert to a couple things that have been happening first and foremost before I ask questions. This is a 3-hour loop. This kind of gives you the trajectory of where the storms have been going here, and thankfully I wouldn't say thankfully, but we have had the trajectory of these storms again, slowly but surely moving north and east here. And finally, the heavy rain has now approached Texarkana. But my big issue for right now is looking at that line of storms that's actually out to the west side of Longview. That's a good ways west of the current line right now that's affecting most of our East Texas counties and southwestern Arkansas. And the issue is if that line out towards like Tyler, Texas continues to move up north and east, that replenishes the rainfall that's continuing to move through areas of Mount Pleasant, DeKalb, and DeQueen, which continues to give a flash flood warning and flash flooding issues for those areas. In fact, this is going to be the last thing I show you before going into the future or before going into some of your questions here. Look at the rain totals around the region. It is ridiculous. All across, again, our target areas here for the day today: Northeast Texas, Southwestern Arkansas, and McCurtain County. Mount Pleasant, let's kind of zoom in and pick out some areas here for you just to give you some good numbers. East of Mount Pleasant, 5.5 inches. Again, this is over the past 48 hours. It's not just tonight, but again, we've been soaked ever since Wednesday. This is a soaked environment, soaked soil. It can't absorb much more. So that's why we lead into greater chances of flash flooding in some of these areas. Around almost 6 inches of rain just south of New Boston. 5 inches of rain there in Red River County. North of Texarkana, we got 6 inches of rain in the portions around, I believe, Columbia County, northern end of there. 4 inches of rain. I think you get the point. We've been getting soaked across the region here locally. And I am keeping an eye out to see if there is a new tornado warning. Again, the tornadic threat is still definitely a possibility, even though we're on the stream here with KSLA News 12. Again, if a tornado warning, for those of you just popping in, if a tornado warning does pop up, the stream will close for the first alert weather update here, and we'll go straight over to the wall where Chief Meteorologist Matt Jones is. He is, again, currently just waiting out, getting some of the latest info in, and he will be the one to talk to you in case there is a tornado warning immediately, and I will head over there to help him out as well. All right, so looking at some of your comments from Facebook, to get some of that, I'm going to just leave the radar loop on. In fact, I'm going to zoom in before I go to some of the comments. I'm going to kind of zoom in on, again, some of those storms that are continuing to give us trouble. First of all, look at these pink cores. That is a real intense line of storms right now going through Texarkana. That is a pink shade. That is intense, heavy rainfall. Oh, I forgot I was going to show you the hail core. This is the hail. Oh, yeah. There it is. That is hail. That does some damage. That is some damaging hail in areas between Douglasville and Atlanta currently at this hour. Looks like that line is, again, currently heading up into Domino and to some areas around Texarkana. Watch out. Watch out again. Even though we don't have the tornado warnings present with us now, the hail is a big issue from Texarkana down to Domino, down to Atlanta, and that's some of the heaviest areas we're watching out for at this hour, especially where you have pink. Ooh, man, that is some thick hail and thick rain droplets along that line. So I'm just going to leave this here for now. I'm going to click now and then kind of answer some of your questions here on the Facebook stream here for you. Cortland, where will it? Yeah, Crystal, you're watching from Shreveport. Do we know what the threat is for Northwest Louisiana? Just a slim chance of storms here. Again, the big issue with this system is not just the fact that we have the tornadic threat continuously moving across the region, but the big threat is also the fact that the rain is almost staying in the same spots. Not only that, it's a very slow-moving system. And honestly, we'll see how far east and how far south the line of rain showers goes. For now, it's right on that ArkLaTex border, just about the actual border in and of itself. And the rain showers are just reaching down almost to the I-20 corridor here at this hour, too. I'm not seeing too much movement eastward with this system. I'm seeing it a little bit, but just very, very slowly at a snail's pace. If you're in plain dealing, maybe watch out for a stray severe storm here for tonight, but I don't think you have as great of a flash flood threat. I could be wrong. We'll see exactly where this line of storms is. For now, again, it's on top of Texarkana, Nashville, Linden, and some of that heavy rain goes back to Mount Pleasant and is going southward towards Marshall and Atlanta, Texas right now. All right. Let's see questions. Watching from Texarkana. How about Ashdown? Ashdown's got lots of heavy rain currently at this hour. Watching from Hope Lisa. How is Elysian Fields looking for tonight? I have time to kind of answer specific questions here just for a little bit. I gotta remind myself where Elysian Fields, Texas. Boom. Okay. That's what I figured it is, just south of Wascom. No, you're good. Elysian Fields, Texas. I think you're looking good because you're south of I-20. As I've kind of told Shreveport and Bossier, for those of you watching out from there, anywhere along the I-20 corridor, especially in the Louisiana side, if you're in the Texas side, we could get some severe storms, again, hitting areas like Marshall and Longview. That's kind of the case as of right now. But if you're in Elysian Fields, which is mainly just to I believe the south side of Marshall there in Harrison County, you're doing fine, obviously, for now. But most of the storm activity, again, is definitely attacking northeast Texas and southwestern Arkansas. It is going to continue to do so. That's why we have that flash flood threat, because rain continues in those areas. I think you're fine in Elysian Fields. You might get a stray shower. I think you'll get a stray shower, but I think that might be it. We'll see. You're kind of on the verge, so it's a little bit of a hard forecast for you, especially if you're on the edge of the line. But for the time being, this line is very slowly moving eastward. I don't see it moving any farther south. And, yeah, that's what we're watching out here for at the time being. All right. Going questions. Can you confirm if there was a tornado touchdown in Domino? Asked Susan. Let's see here. Tornado touchdown, Domino. I cannot confirm. Let me see if I can. Hold up. No, that's the debris tracker. That's not what I wanted. Shear tracker. Here we go. Here was the kind of the path of the tornadic activity. This shear tracker tracks on the potential areas where the tornadic storm was, which I believe, yeah, see, it kind of dropped a good bit off around Domino. I think we got reports of a wall cloud around Domino, but I think once it passed areas just to the east side of Douglasville, I think that's where our confirmed tornado, somewhere around there, actually lifted up into the atmosphere. You usually look for these like light blue shades for areas where there was tornadic activity. when it goes to just back to like dark blue, where it is kind of around Domino, and you see even less shades of dark blue up towards Texarkana, that's where we have a little bit of shear to potentially create a little bit of a tornadic atmosphere, but we haven't seen anything happen yet. So I'd say for Domino, you did not get anything there. I'm going to go back to the radar picture here for you. Again, 2 severe thunderstorm warnings. One right on top of Texarkana with that heavy rain moving through right down there. And that heavy rain is extended right now through Domino, Atlanta, and pretty much going through most of our northeast Texas counties. Again, just go over this radar picture one more time. Jefferson's getting in on some heavy rain at the moment. Marshall, you're just barely staying clear here of everything for the moment. Shreveport, Bossier, you're kind of on the edge. I wouldn't say on the edge, but you're looking in, obviously. Out to storms to your west that are very slowly moving up north and east. So, like yesterday, Shreveport might just miss all of these. We'll see. Is Morris County out of the woods? Jen. Morris County. Oh, that's for Dangerfield. Yeah, that's where I thought that was. I always just double check everything. Oh man, hold up. Let me gain traffic. Let me gain control of my graphics again. Oh, and my graphics literally just crashed on me. I'm getting control of them back again. Hold up. Sorry about that. There we go. I now have control again. So now I can roll this around. Dangerfield, I'd say your tornadic threat has dropped down a good bit, which is good. But your main issue is now flash flooding. Again, let me kind of auto-populate these watches and warnings here. Dangerfield, you're right in Morris County. You're right under that flash flood warning, which means just don't drive, please. That indicates some issues with some flash flooding along some roadways, and hopefully it's not affecting homes. That's all I can say at this hour. All right, so that's the latest warnings. Let me go back to the radar picture there for you. It's loading. There we go. Everything looks to be good for the time being. All right, back to the stream. Back to the questions. All right. How's Wascom looking for the morning? Tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, it could get bad. We do have an enhanced risk. I know I see a few questions about that for tomorrow. Let me bring up tomorrow's risk. I do not have that graphic handy with me, but I can find it here in 1 minute. There we go. It's loading. This is your issue here for tomorrow. Obviously, the threat area shifts. That's the biggest story here for the day tomorrow on your first alert weather day here for your Saturday. It includes most of our East Texas counties. In fact, this looks like it looks like we've actually expanded this enhanced risk from the last time I've looked at it, actually, across most of Nacogdoches and Longview, actually. But the point is, this encompasses all of northwest Louisiana with a good enhanced risk around that region here for tomorrow. And unfortunately, we could have the same threats from today continuing again here into tomorrow. Just to go into a future track really quickly before I get back into the current radar picture here for you. The radar, so again, for the rest of the night tonight, this is from an earlier run. But essentially, we're watching out for these storms coming through early tomorrow morning. In fact, I wonder if I could get a refreshed. Hold up. I want to refresh this future track. This future track, by the way, this model run is essentially taken from earlier. Hold up. Give me 2 seconds, and I can fix this for you. Bam. There we go. There we go. All right, there's the newest model run. Yeah, because this was running on an older model run that essentially ran way earlier today. So this is the latest model run with this picture. Again, we still have plenty to get through for the rest of tonight that unfortunately could be lingering into the overnight hours. Look at the heavy rain still around midnight in southwestern Arkansas. We are far from done here for the night tonight. Then there comes that next squall line, which can hit as early as 7 to 8 in the morning tomorrow. Can hit 9 a.m., 9:10 around Shreveport. And that's just round number 1. Look at round number 2 forming later in the afternoon, and we could still have heavy rain in areas like Shreveport all the way until 6 p.m. That's why we also have a flash flooding risk again for those same areas. It's going to be almost a washout and for good portions of the ArkLaTex here throughout the day here for your Saturday. And that was just a generic look at some of the timing of things. So I'm Just going over some questions. So, all right, Adrian, you have a severe warning right now for Caddo and Bossier. You do? Let me go back to the warnings here. Bam. You do have the warnings for Caddo and Bossier, but they're for northern Caddo and Bossier. They are not for Shreveport and Bossier. Let me really emphasize that, and I'm going to overlay the radar for you there to kind of see that all those storms are actually heading up north and east away from the Shreveport-Bossier area for now. Kaylee asks, is Shreveport in the clear for tonight? No. You're kind of living on the edge. These storms are going to be hanging around northeast Texas and southwestern Arkansas for the moment and for a good amount of time. Again, as we just mentioned, we could have rain up into southwestern Arkansas as late as midnight, 1 a.m. My issue with Shreveport and Bossier, especially because, heavy rain is just one county away, essentially, that if that rain wants to shift a little farther to the east, we could catch on to just the strayest clip of a storm, of a heavy rainfall storm here for Shreveport and Bossier. So, again, it's almost the same forecast of what we've seen for the past 2 days, especially in Shreveport and Bossier, but I would still say to watch out. Michael says there was weak rotation and domino. Weak, but it was there, yeah. All right. Julie asks, why are the tornado watches for Shreveport there if we aren't getting any rain? Well, again, as I just mentioned, Shreveport, it's so difficult because you're on the edge. Trust me, if any of those storms go any far, just one county off to our east, you're going to be dealing with the severe weather threat that everybody else is dealing with. It's a fine line. I know it's a little difficult because you haven't gotten much and you're under the tornado warning and it's like, oh, I don't see any rain. But they always want to essentially put that tornado watch out for more counties and more parishes than they have to. Shreveport and Caddo and Bossier are kind of, again, on that very edge of the tornado watch, and they're on the edge of areas watching in. And again, northern Caddo and Bossier parishes are under a severe thunderstorm warning at this hour here for the time being. Any rotations in Atlanta, Texas? Asked Belinda. I believe we're getting another severe thunderstorm warning here. I believe that's been updated. I have the National Weather Service chat on my phone pulled up. All right, so let's look at the rotation. We haven't taken a look at that in a while here. Thanks for y'all for just tuning in. Again, no tornado warnings, just to really emphasize that. Again, if we had a tornado warning, this stream would immediately shut down. We'd be back over into the studio. Chief Meteorologist Matt Jones is literally just sitting there on the computer. I want to say literally just sitting there on the computer, but he's looking at the latest info, and he is keeping you first alert weather aware over there. He's doing some stuff behind the scenes with the web, essentially the web article, which just means on our website, reposting some things to our website here for the time being, and he's watching out. And in case we have a tornado warning, he will be the first one to greet you over on that green wall. All right, so sorry. Let's get into the wind velocity. So again, we're watching out for areas of tightly knit red and green areas, and there's some indication of some strong winds. There's a strong red shade for you right there around Texarkana, followed by green. But we need things to be a little closer knit together if you want to actually have a rotation around to form a tornadic activity. You need the rotation essentially in the colors closer together is what I'm trying to say. So it is certainly windy in Texarkana underneath that heavy rainfall. But thankfully, this is good news again, thankfully we aren't seeing anything. We aren't seeing any of this green kind of just essentially hugging the red. Most of it's together, which indicates some strong winds, but nothing is wrapping around itself, which is the best of news, honestly, with this system, which is good. I'm going to go ahead and pull back up the radar and get to another question because I know they keep coming in, and I can only answer so much. So what's the rotation looking like on the Texarkana storm, says Andy. Again, this is 7 minutes ago. I know, sorry for the wait. So many comments are coming in. The Texarkana storm, it's mainly just strong winds and heavy rain, and even a little bit of hail that we've seen reported with this system as well. So essentially, you're getting the hail, you're getting now threats of flash flooding in areas of Texarkana as a result, and you're getting very strong winds. You're just pretty much not seeing any tornadic threat at all. In fact, something just came to the National Weather Service here at this time. I believe this is a tornado report. This is not a tornado warning. But this is a report of a tornado from earlier. Yes, this is a report from Lone Star in Morris County in Texas. Tree snapped, overturned cars, and there has been additional damage near the Lakeview Baptist Assembly in Lone Star, Texas. Again, that's with that tornado warning storm that we had earlier in that region. All right, future track, yes, Jody. What are we expecting in Northwest Louisiana? I'll go over that one more time real quick because I know we're getting so many questions. Again, I know it's been essentially, trust me, our studio is literally in Shreveport and Bossier. I've been driving in throughout Shreveport and Bossier, and it's a very fine line. Even on the future track for the rest of tonight, it's a very fine line to see how far those severe storms go out east. And honestly, on the future track, it almost, just looks like those severe storms just camp out in northeast Texas and southwestern Arkansas. But again, we have that tornado watch in place for Caddo and Bossier parishes just in case the actual line of rain showers just ends up just a little farther east, which could happen. Could happen. But again, if you're not getting hit by these storms tonight, you are certainly going to be hit by this tomorrow. This is what we're watching out for. The line of storms, the next big line of storms, after a little break in the overnight hours, comes through early tomorrow morning. 7-8 a.m. it shows up in McCurtain County, Mount Pleasant. It shows up in Texarkana again early tomorrow morning. Then this does hit Shreveport. It looks like around, according to this future track, it's going to be around the mid-morning hours, around 10, 11 a.m. And the worst part of all is it looks like that line breaks apart and it reforms in behind it. So we get like a second line coming through in the afternoon, which also gives us more chances for severe weather before finally drying up tomorrow night. So that's what we're essentially watching out for there. I just continue to go back to this radar picture while I'm just answering your questions. And there you can kind of see the loop. I'm going to go ahead and leave on the loop to kind of let you know where these storms are headed. In fact, let me zoom out just a little bit. All right, let me answer the next question. I'm going to just leave that on where it is. I don't know why the towns are... There we go. So that's the current radar picture here right now. Obviously, widespread heavy rainfall across northeast Texas and slowly but surely heading into southwestern Arkansas, and that's included Texarkana. Texarkana is getting absolutely decimated. All right, anyways, Crystal, how about the tornado threat for Caddo Parish here for tomorrow? Good question, especially I know some of y'all want to get ready here for tomorrow in northwest Louisiana. I have a way to find that out. Again, I'm just choosing random questions to answer here within the last 5 minutes. Let's go to this. I know you've already seen this graphic for those of you who have been here the entire time, but essentially for those of you joining, this is the severe risk here for tomorrow. Little corner of southwestern Arkansas, a good portion of eastern Texas here for tomorrow with the enhanced risk, and the enhanced risk is covering all of northern Louisiana. That does include Shreveport, includes Natchitoches, includes all of that. But I want to show you something within this outlook, because the same people who produce this outlook also produce the specific tornado outlook, and here it is right here. And this has actually expanded since I last checked it out earlier this morning during my typical shift. Let me move the camera here for you. Essentially, this is the tornadic threat here for the day today. And if you're looking at the dashed black lines, that's indicating the chance of long-lived tornadoes and the greatest chance of tornadoes, which is essentially underneath that yellow shade, which does include Shreveport and Bossier. It does include that area. It does include our East Texas county, specifically below I-20. It also includes pretty much all of northwest Louisiana, including Ruston, Natchitoches, and again, as I said, Shreveport and Bossier. Technically includes the little corner of southwestern Arkansas around Magnolia, too, here again for the day tomorrow. So you want to make sure you're weather aware with us, as technically, I will say this threat has dropped off from today. It has dropped, or it's going to drop off just a smidge for tomorrow compared to the threat that we have right now, but that's still a substantial chance. That is still a substantial chance regardless. All right, I'm going to go back to this radar picture here for you guys now. Again, man, my graphics are running a little, there we go. Sometimes running a little slow. They're running on overtime, not going to lie. All right, choosing random questions. I'm sorry. How about Arkansas? I hope I pronounced that right. You guys are about to get underneath that heavy rain and that hail and that lightning. That is the core of the storm. If I can I circle? Probably our biggest threat, flash flooding and severe weather wise for me, is looking out. If I can actually draw, which I forget. I'm not sure if I have a drawing tool on here. I believe I don't. But the point is, I'm watching out for this. I can kind of right there. Right there. And this is continuing to slowly but surely move up north and east. So this gives you kind of some times here for, oh, yeah, I guess Folk technically isn't getting the rain just yet, but any minute now, essentially, you'll be getting that heavy rain, the strong winds, and the hail. Again, there are some times for some other towns across southwestern Arkansas that can get in on some of this action here. Coming in just a little bit. Waldo towards 9 o'clock tonight. Magnolia also towards 9 o'clock. Stamps a little more towards 8:30. So maybe give yourself some times to prepare here for the time being. Again, our rain totals continue to ramp on up around the ArkLaTex here, especially in northeastern Texas. I got some flash flooding warnings again set up around Mount Pleasant, areas of Morris County, especially as nearly 5 inches of rain has fallen and more continues. Plenty more coming still for the next couple of hours. All right. Any possible rotation for tomorrow, Madison? Any possible rotation tomorrow? Is there any way you can know? We kind of just went over that map here, that tornadic threat map. Again, it will be greatest around northwest Louisiana here for the day tomorrow. I know the past 3 days, it's been Shreveport and Bossier, again, essentially just on the sidelines away from the rain. But tomorrow, that is not going to be the case. All right. Definitely flooding in Texarkana. Yeah, I agree. Just responding to random questions. Man, the hatched area grew, says Roe. Yes, it did. The severe weather risk kind of grew here for tomorrow as we're getting closer to the day. All right, Kylie, should we be concerned in Shreveport tomorrow? Unfortunately, yes, because, first of all, again, Shreveport and Bossier, we haven't had anything over the past 2 days, really. You're not getting anything right now, although, again, that could change if that line of storms just decides to move any farther east, which for now it's not really doing that. Sorry, I got distracted here for a moment. Keep in mind, I'm not going to lie, just a little behind the scenes. I have an energy drink here that I'm actually going to take a much-needed sip for. All right. So, Kylie, concern in Shreveport. I would say out of any days to be first alert weather aware with us over the past couple of days, I know there hasn't been much hitting you yet, but should you be concerned tomorrow? I'd probably say yes, because tornado warnings are possible here for the Shreveport-Bossier area here for the day tomorrow, especially tomorrow morning, which I know is going to be a little annoying because it could hit. Well, there's some of the future tracks that show it hitting the Shreveport-Bossier area around 7 in the morning. So watch out. Anytime between, I'd probably say 7 and 10. There's some future tracks saying different timings of things, but the point is it's going to hit tomorrow morning. How many inches of rain can we expect tomorrow from Shreveport and Bossier? That is a great question. I'm actually going to look at something behind the scenes for that. And then as I'm looking at something behind the scenes, I'm going to show you the rainfall outlook, which I need to go ahead and find because I haven't pulled it up yet on the stream. There it is. I'm going to pull this up. It is loading slowly but surely. It's loading even more. I know it says next 3 days, but, I mean, we're not expecting rain beyond the next 3 days. This graphic, I swear, it takes a while to load. This is why I don't really use this graphic, honestly, during the show too much, but I can use it, obviously, perfectly fine during stream. So, again, greatest rain totals still over the next 3 days are going to be present around southwestern Arkansas, especially with the rain tonight. But if I zoom in to Shreveport and Bossier, looks like you're on the verge anywhere between 2 to 3 inches of rain from tomorrow alone. Yeah, it's expected to come a lot. Again, because the rain starts tomorrow morning, and then according to our future track, it almost lingers on and will almost have like a second big wave. 2 big waves, one in the morning, one coming later in the afternoon with like a good amount of light to moderate rainfall like in between throughout the course of the day around lunchtime. I'm looking at other weather models on other rainfall potential forecasts here behind the scenes that aren't really incorporated with our graphic system here. Looks like about My other models here behind the scenes kind of indicate more towards an inch and a half to 2 inches, so maybe on the lighter side of what this is showing, which is more towards 2.5, almost 3. So the point is over an inch of rain, which is still a considerable amount, more 2 to 3 inches. I wouldn't say the flash flooding threat is immense in Shreveport, Bossier here for tomorrow, but definitely I'd watch out for street flooding. That's definitely going to be a likelihood. All right, next thing up on the list. As I said, I'm just continuing to run the radar picture in the background there. For those of you just joining, there are no tornado warnings in progress here, which is great news around the ArkLaTex. That could certainly change at any point because these are still threatening storms here around the ArkLaTex, which are giving us some heavy rainfall between northeast Texas and southwestern Arkansas. Again, thankfully not seeing any tornado warnings yet. Just so you know, if there was a tornado warning right now, the stream would be down. I would shut this off. You would see Chief Meteorologist Matt Jones, who is literally just camped out in the studio just in case a tornado warning does happen. All right. Let's see here. Back to Facebook. Actually, real quick, I know I'm live streaming on YouTube. YouTube has one comment. Mini AWP. What does the green mean? How is Texarkana doing? Texarkana is underneath lots of heavy rain. And actually, one thing I'm going to take a look at real quick here with the Texarkana storm is the hail. Because, again, I actually want to take a look at two things. I want to refresh your memory on the watches and warnings we have around these areas here. So anything in the yellow is a severe thunderstorm warning, which is in effect for Texarkana and in effect for pretty much all of southwestern Arkansas, as that's where the rain is headed. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect also for eastern Texas by Jefferson, moving eastward into northern Caddo and Bossier parishes. That does not include Shreveport and Bossier at this hour. These storms continuing to move up north and east again into southwestern Arkansas. We do have tons of flash flood warnings behind these severe thunderstorm warnings on the back end, which is really racking up the rain totals in areas like Ashdown, DeQueen, DeKalb, New Boston, Mount Pleasant, all the way down to Gilmer. Honestly, these flash flood warnings could continue to move eastward as we continue to, again, increase the rain totals here over the next several days. Last thing I want to look at before I get back to comments on Facebook is the hail tracker, which shows the strongest of storms again hitting areas around the strongest storm is hitting Texarkana, but it looks like the strongest part of the storm is just on the southern end of Texarkana, hitting it more towards Atlanta and Domino. That's where we have some of the thicker hail in those areas, and that's moving out towards Folk. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. I'm so sorry. But the point is, looks like the hail is moving out towards areas just to the southern end of Texarkana and Folk there in Miller. The point is it's moving into Miller County, and that's going to continue to move north and east. So let's go back here again as our radar is reloading up here. That's not a radar, but rain totals, again, still immense here in the ArkLaTex. There we go. Graphics were going kind of all over the place there for the moment. Just giving you a little zoom out here for the moment. Again, Shreveport and Bossier are kind of just on the edge. We'll see if that line actually wants to move any farther east. But for the past 2 days, that answer has been no. It's just continued to stay around northeast Texas and southwestern Arkansas. We'll see what happens, again, with the storms here tonight. Should we be concerned right now in Marshall? Juliana, thankfully, again, no tornado warnings. That's the reason you're seeing me for the first place, which is good. Marshall, you are really on the edge walking in. This is a 30-minute loop on the radar, and still rain just kind of lingers off to your western edge there. Thankfully, we're not seeing too much, again, tornadic activity, which is good to see. And right as I say that, there is a tornado warning in place. So guess what? We're going to end the stream. This is in effect for Arkansas. This has just come in. I'm going to put up the alert here for you just now. There we go. That is an alert just to the southeast of Texarkana. I have to hop off the stream right now. Chief Meteorologist Matt Jones is coming up here in just a moment with the latest on this new tornado warning. Stay with us here, KSLA News 12. I'll be back with you in the studio here in just a little bit. Again, new tornado warning in effect for Hempstead, Lafayette, Miller, and Nevada counties. We'll have the latest here coming up in just a moment. Stay with us.